Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Mike Muldoon podcast. Thanks for joining me. As always, for those who may have not listened over the last few weeks, I am broadcasting. I'm like I'm on a pirate ship out in the middle of the English Sound. No, I'm just coming to you from England, wherever you're located from. You know, prior we were in Charlotte, North Carolina. But I gotta tell you, what I'm loving here about England, I'm loving the weather. I'm loving the cold air. I'm loving just being outside and breathing fresh air. See, when you're living in North Carolina, especially like for many of the months, it's so hot. You're rarely outside, and when you're out there, you're breathing in this hot air. I love it. It's funny. I went to go to a breakfast place the other day, and I went inside and I got a menu. And the woman's like, yeah, just sit anywhere. I was like, can I sit outside? She's like, you could, but you can also sit inside. And I was like, no, I really want to sit outside. She's like, you sure you want to sit outside? I'm like, yes, I want to sit outside. I like it. I just like feeling the cold air. But I got to tell you, it's been raining a lot, and that I'm not a big fan of. Not a big fan of the wet all the time. I always find it interesting too. Water bills are much higher in England than they are in the U.S., but yet they've got so much water here. I wonder if we're just still collecting it through like Roman aqueducts or something. But anyway, I'm enjoying being here and everything's great. So listen, as always, I just want to, share some time with you here. I know everybody's got important, busy days and things going on. So that's what this podcast is for. We get in, we get out. But listen, today I want to talk about the importance of not only just being present with people, but I want to talk about eye contact and why it's so crucial and this amazing thing that happens when you actually make eye contact with people. Because I know some people struggle with that, but it's a very important a social aspect. It's something that, if you struggle with, you really got to work on. So, there's this magical moment, right? When you're talking with somebody and you're really connected, right? Maybe like staring kind of deeply into your soul, that you kind of forget what day it is or even what you had for breakfast. And I'm not talking about it in a romantic way. I'm just talking about, like, have you ever noticed how time flies during a great conversation when you're just talking to somebody, maybe met at a party or an event, and before you know it, you're like, oh my God, the time has flown by. But when you have like those awkward conversations with a lot of weird pauses and stuff, it just seems to stretch on for an eternity in those awkward little silences. Well, it just turns out that eye contact, it's kind of our built-in social superpower. It actually messes with our perception of time. And it's this little phenomenon. It's called gaze-triggered time perception. And it shows that the people or things that we focus on that seem to exist for shorter durations than those we awkwardly avoid staring into, right? So not only can eye contact save us from socially uncomfortable moments, but it can also help us manage time better if we play our cards or even our gazes right. And that's what we're going to talk about. Now imagine you're in a meeting and someone locks eyes with you. Suddenly it feels like you're like this sense of time speeds up as you're drawn into the conversation. Again, this effect, it's called gaze-triggered time perception. Now, the brain, in an attempt to process social and emotional information during an eye contact, tends to compress time, making the moment seem more shorter than it actually is. I mean, it's the same principle can apply to any situation when you're sort of engaged with another person, whether, you're in a coaching session or doing a presentation or just even in casual conversations with just random strangers you meet. But see, on the flip side, when you avoid eye contact or you feeling disengaged, it can make time stretch on forever. I feel like this happens a lot of time when I get my hair cut. A lot of those awkward conversations that people, and it just feels like the haircut's going on forever and ever. Though I have to be honest, I did find a new person to cut my hair. He's great. So, but anyway, what I'm talking about here is, we've all been there when these awkward conversations, you're kind of just staring at the clock, you're just waiting for, this presentation to end and thinking how this is only 5 minutes in, right? Because it's just dragging on. But without that connection through the eye contact, time is going to feel like it's dragging on. So that's why it's so important that when you're talking to somebody or paying attention to something, that you lock in, especially if you want it to move faster. So listen, now that we know how eye contact sort of affects our sense of time, let's just kind of look at some ways that this could be helpful to you, whether you're looking to improve your personal interactions, manage your time better, or just, strengthen your leadership skills, because that's a really important one. Have you ever been around a leader who comes in a room, starts talking to everybody, but he avoids eye contact? His eyes are everywhere else in the room except on you, and you just don't feel inspired at all. So it's really important, like especially if you're someone in a leadership capacity, that you really work on this, right? Because again, eye contact is a powerful tool for creating connections to you and your employees or anybody else you might be speaking to. So again, whether you're building rapport with if it's a coaching client or a colleague or a friend or making direct eye contact helps you engage more deeply, because time appears to pass faster during moments of connection. So you'll leave the interaction feeling more energized than drained, as like, oh my God, this went on forever. And the thing is, when others feel that connection, they're more likely to open up and trust you. So again, if you're a leader, a manager or something like that, if you're somebody who has a hard time with this, and maybe you're wondering why you're not engaging well with your employees, this might just be it. Now, if you're somebody who feels like you're just not engaging well with your coworkers, this just might be it. It's really important that you start practicing that. And it might be uncomfortable. Like, everything's uncomfortable in the beginning, right? But eventually you get used to it. The other thing about, again, for those people out there who, especially in leadership positions, your ability to maintain eye contact strengthens your presence in the room. See, when you make deliberate eye contact during conversations or even presentations, people perceive you as more confident and engaged. And for you, this means that meeting or presentation will feel shorter and more manageable, preventing those feelings that you might have while you're sitting up there feeling overwhelmed. Now, for my other friends out there who just struggle in social events, who maybe have a touch of social anxiety, for people who struggle with social anxiety, it's like eye contact can feel very intimidating, right? Because you want to put your eyes anywhere except on the person that's talking to you. However, when you understand that eye contact can actually speed up the perception of time and can be empowering, you're going to start realizing that this is the better way to interact. So maybe you can get out of that situation faster. So the thing is, and if you're somebody like this, you're worried about like getting stuck in a long, awkward interaction, just using that eye contact creates a sense of flow that's going to, help you feel more in control of the situation and help that conversation and that moment feel shorter. But it's also probably going to take your mind off the whole, like, oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable. Because now what are you doing? You're focusing on something. And for my friends out there who like to, really about time management, that's my thing. I love to try to manage my time. My wife's sort of impressed about how many things I can get done in a day, but here's the thing. You'd be surprised how your eye contact can actually speed up time, especially when you're doing like those mundane tasks that kind of slow us down, right? During these, during these unenjoyable moments. See, while gaze-triggered time perception doesn't literally change the clock, but it will help you manage your time better in those social settings. So for example, during important discussions, eye contact can help keep the interaction flowing and reduce the perception of wasted time. And also, when you're locking in on something, you're giving their full attention, you're probably going to get through what you all need to exchange faster than if you're kind of just both drifting around the room and your brain is going other places, you're thinking about other things, therefore the conversation is dragging on. The other thing what eye contact does, and this is really important for anybody who works with anybody, it forces you and focuses you to become more of an active listener. See, when you focus on your gaze on someone during a conversation, you're not just altering time perception, you're also practicing what's called active listening. And a lot of people have a hard time with this. See, most people listen in terms of, I hear what you're saying, but I've got to reply. I hear what you're saying, but I got to reply. I hear what you're saying, but I got to reply. But see, the eye contact helps you stay present in that moment and pick up on subtle cues from the other person, leading to more meaningful and productive conversations. A lot of times they talk about this with coaching, how to keep your mind blank. So if you really want to know what's going on with somebody, if you really engage them with active listening, you're really not just hearing what they're saying, you're hearing the whole body is what they're saying, right? Because you're going to get a lot more from somebody by their body language than you are a lot of times from their words. So active listening is, it's especially beneficial if you're somebody who mentors or coaches people, whether it's sports or just personal or business or whatever it is, or even if just in a manager, because that listening is key to understanding the needs of the person you're helping. Because a lot of times what they're telling you isn't so much coming out in their words as much as it's coming out in their body language, their little triggers, shaking their foot, hands, whatever it is, will tell you a lot more about what's going on than just simply the words that are coming out. So again, my people out there, people who can benefit from this, coaches, mentors, leaders, managers, public speakers, and presenters. I mean, especially if you're somebody who hates public speaking, here's the thing. If you're going to give a presentation because you're forced to, whether you're in front of a small group or a large audience, just understanding gaze triggered time perception can help you maintain engagement. See, eye contact draws people in, making your message more compelling while also helping you feel like the time on stage is just flying by. So again, maybe a little off topic today, but it's really important because I've noticed more and more when I talk to people, their eyes are shifting all over the place. And if you noticed a lot more with young people, right? Because I don't know, it's because of the gadgets or they're just socially awkward now because they don't really know how to deal, with that one-on-one, interaction with people anymore. It's just something my wife and I do a lot with our kids. We force them to talk to people, oh, I want to go get something. Great. Go talk to the cashier. Or, oh, I don't know where this is. Yeah, go ask that guy over there. Now, granted, I'm watching, but I have them more interacting with people and getting used to that comfort. But the thing is, again, eye contact, it's just not about, being polite, right? I'm going to look you in the eyes because I want to be polite. Or I'm just saying I'm giving you my attention. It's just a subtle way to really influence how we experience and manage our time in social situations. So again, not only from helping building stronger connections, making those long meetings feel shorter, but gaze trigger time perception, it's an insight into how our brain works during these interactions. So like the next time you're in this conversation, remember, a little eye contact goes a long way in shaping not only how others will perceive you, right? You're listening, you're engaged, you seem to care, or your message is more powerful because you're locked in, but it's also going to influence how you perceive time. So again, going forward, when you're out there, start paying attention to people, start paying attention to yourself. Lock in, give people more of your attention, give people more of your time, become more of an active listener. Listen, to be honest, the way the world's going right now, we need more listening than we really need to do talking. We've got enough talking going on right now between social media and every keyboard warrior in the world right now. Everybody's talking. What we need is more people listening, more people engaged. And again, for people who struggle with eye contact or, oh my God, I don't want to be here forever. Well, guess what? I just gave it away because sometimes you have to be there. So lock in and use your time bending powers for good. Okay. All right. That's what I got today. Just a little off topic today, a little tidbit to kind of take out in the world with you, but it'll be interesting how many of you now, the next time you have a conversation with yourself, start paying attention to whether or not you're locking in and you're listening to them, or if suddenly you catch yourself going, oh my God, I'm all over the place right now. I'm all over the place. Anyway, as always, I appreciate you listening. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button down below. Share it with your friends. What really helps out too? Keep up the Apple reviews. I'm so bad at this marketing thing. It's just terrible. I really need to get somebody. I'm good at doing the podcast. I love doing the podcast, but everything else that has to come with running this thing, I'm just not good at it. But I do know the ratings are really cool. So if you can hit that and you can leave a review, I appreciate that. Sorry to drag this on anymore. But that would be fantastic. Share with your friends, your families, whatever. Like I say, it's crazy. I see some upticks here and there, and it's cool. But anyway, I'm here for you. And as I started this podcast years ago, if I'm only helping one person out in the world, and that's a real blessing. We all want to change the masses, but if we can just help change one person who may eventually changes the masses, that's a good thing. So other than that, listen, enjoy your weekend, be safe, have fun. I've got a birthday party this weekend. My daughter turned 10 this week. She's turned 10 this week. It's crazy. It's time flying. But anyway, as always, I got nothing but love for you.